Well, good morning to all you fine, happy people out there in internet land. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, that fun thing we do on Saturday mornings where we get together and we give our views on the news and we try to make ourselves find a way to get through this crazy thing that we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative. Sometimes I am referred to as the fine fella in the fedora. On occasion, I'm called the beau in the chapeau. Sometimes referred to as the common man with common sense. But in this moment, above all else, I am known as simply your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that great little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you would not mind, if you would not care, if it will not inconvenience you too much to do so, please go ahead and do any of the following. Number one, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you're not a subscriber already, that would really help me out. Number two, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment in chat. It really pushes this little live stream out. Makes people aware of what we're trying to do here and have a little fun doing it. Also, while you're at it, hit the bell for notifications, share the link around with your friends, and above all else, enjoy the show. Oh, here's a new nickname, the Chap in the Cap. I like that. I like that one. I got to remember that. The Chap with the Cap. I like that, sir. And good morning to you. Got to jot that one down for future purposes. And a fist bump to you, Kawan. Good morning. Oh, it's so good to have you guys here on a Saturday morning, and we've got a lot of stuff lined up for you this morning. Good things to get into. So, yes, going to have a lot of fun this morning, going to enjoy your company doing it, and let's have some fun as we go over some items in the news. Let's see who's here this morning. WWG1 is over there on Rumble, one of the OG wingnuts. And he's got a whole string of memes, bless his heart. TBA is here, says, I've got an errand to run, but I'll be back as soon as possible. Just wanted to let you know I have not abandoned y'all. TBA, we would never, ever assume that you have abandoned us, sir. And, you know, we are very proud of you that you are one of the OG wingnuts over there on Rumble. So don't worry, brother. We got you covered. We'll be here doing our thing. But, you know, come back as soon as possible. Well, get some of that. Let's see who else is here on the YouTube side. Z Highness representing the 199, as always. Mwah. And fist bump to you, TBA. See who else is here. Bonjour, for your nation. Miss Gypsy. Mwah. Loves you, darling. Oh, my girl. How are you, darling? Can't attend today. Daughter doing over to help clean. All right. Very good. Full-time rehab. Start my 39 next week, getting better. But okay, darling, we're glad to have you here, and we're glad you're getting better, and we're still praying for your full and complete recovery. So we're glad to have you here, and a big old kiss for you. I am not kissing you, sir. Forget it, but I will give you a fist. Good morning, Adam. Let's see. Says, wait a minute. I thought of changing the podcast alarm to can't touch this. Well, that might get me in trouble. You can do whatever you wish, however, my dear. Oh, let's see who else is here in the house. I think that about covers everybody right now. So, all right. Glad to have y'all here. It is a lot going on in the news, lots to talk about. We got some selected topics. We got some stuff in HodgePodge stew. So let's just dive right in and get right to it. Now, as we are wont to do, if you have never been here before, we are all about trying to have as much fun as we possibly can and laugh through this thing that we call life. However, it's been a rough week. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. It's been a very rough week, particularly if you are a child of the 1980s. I mean, you had Malcolm Jamal Warner's passing, you had Ozzy passing, and then, Thursday of this week, the Hulkster, has gone up to the big ring in the sky. It's tough. It really is. I mean, I'll never forget, I was listening to a speaker one time and he made a very interesting comment. And he said, I'm just young enough not to be old, but I'm old enough not to be young. Well, after watching the passing of a lot of folks that I have fond memories of, that phrase kind of hits home for me. Now, some people, on the other hand, are really going to extremes. I mean, having watched the passing of these, folks that we have mentioned, man, they're kind of like, I don't know. Personally, I think they're going to some extremes here. You guys tell me. This kind of seems a little just over the top, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, should we really be, bubble wrapping Arnold Schwarzenegger at this point? I don't know, man. Like I say, I understand trying to find a way to deal with it, but this just, I don't know. To me, this just seems a little bit over the top. But you do you, and you try and find your way to dealing with the things that are going on as best you can. Like I said, however, this seems a little extreme. And anyway, well, good morning, people unite. We're glad to have you. I'm not sure if you're a guy or a lady, but I'll just give you like the general fist bump. So good morning to you. Oh, goodness me. Glad to have you here. Let's see. What else is going on in the way of the merry memes that we need to talk about? Yes. I get a certain amount of grief sometimes for the things that I post, be it a meme, be it a comment, a video, what have you. And a lot of times I just kind of let it go. Seriously, because you're a grandma. Well, in that case, honey, mwah, a kiss to you in your general direction. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. Generally I try to ignore the criticism, but sometimes you just need to take a moment, reflect, and realize that truly, you need to find a way to say you're sorry. So to all you folks out there who've gotten mad at me over the years for, some of the things that I have posted, I just want you to know, if it was done out of anger, I'm genuinely sorry. I will do my best going forward to make sure that I do not put out any more angry posts and such that it would get you upset. I don't want my audience to be mad at me. So if you think that the posts that I have put out have been done in anger, I just want you to know I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. There. Now I feel like I have achieved a certain amount of grace in your eyes as a host, and you, the members of my audience. Just saying. All right, let's move on, because now that I've gotten that out of my system. Oh goodness, folks. Oh man, something just flashed across my news feed. Hang on. For this I got to take some water. Well, it wasn't intended to be a judgmental post, Lana. I'm just saying, honey. But you know what? Again, I am sorry for it. Folks, we just got some more bad news that just literally hit the wires a moment ago, and I'm sorry to have to deliver this news to you, but we just got this news about Bill Gates, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ruin your Saturday morning. Man, oh man, I know. It's just, I'm telling you, this week is rough on everybody. God, it really is. My Lord, it's just bad out there. I tell you what, it is bad out there. Goodness me. Hang on, folks. Let's see if I can't. You say that's what you're holding. I'm going to drop that down a little more. Okay. It is. It's a bad week, man. Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one, brother. Cannot disagree with you on that one. All right. What else is going on out there? My gosh. Stuff is breaking loose all the time. Well, I just want you to know that the housing crisis in America has been solved. Donald Trump is this man is working miracles. And the good news is everybody now has a place to live and call their own in America. Okay? And you got to give Trump a lot of credit. I mean, right wingers are going to have a place to live. Left wingers are going to have a place to live. And more importantly, the woke in America now have a place to live. Thank God Donald Trump came out with his announcement this week about, his resolution to the housing crisis in America. Now everybody has somewhere that they can go. So, to Donald Trump, we raise a glass and we say, God bless you, sir. It's a good day to be alive. There you go. All right. What else is going on in the world? Daggone it. What else is happening out there that we need to find a way to talk about or laugh about? Well, I've always said there are some memes that just sort of take care of themselves. Well, you know what? This one just kind of speaks for itself. Oh, I saw that comment, my dear. I saw that comment. Some memes just speak for themselves. You know what? I'm just going to put this one up here and just let it speak for itself. And by the way, lest somebody out there think that I'm being a little bit, shall we say, snarky, hey, do not be shocked at all if this winds up happening. If somewhere in the next 18 to 24 months, if you see one of those two remaining late night hosts out of a job. Now, for my part, I hope it's Jimmy Kimmel. Okay. I hope it's Jimmy Kimmel. I got nothing against Jimmy Fallon. I think he's a very talented young man, and he is the heir to a legacy. Because I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Tonight Show, regardless of who was hosting. But Kimmel, yeah, give him the heave ho. And don't be surprised if it doesn't happen. Anyway. So you're here for the snark, and well, I'll tell you what, I'll do my best, my dear. That's all I'm saying. I will do my best. Well, yeah, and this is why these guys are going to be out of a job. This is exactly why these guys are going to be out of a job. And I go back to that clip that I played last week when Johnny Carson was being interviewed by Mike Wallace of CBS News. It was for 60 Minutes. And Mike Wallace said, the criticism of you is that, you don't take any positions on the issues. And Johnny Carson said, show me one time when Red Skelton or Jack Benny. Now, keep in mind, to a lot of young people listening to that, who are these people? You have to remember something. Johnny Carson bridged a gap between generations of comedians. Okay. Johnny was just young enough and old enough to have known Jack Benny and Red Skelton and all those cats. So Carson says to Mike Wallace, name me a time when Jack Benny or Red Skelton or Groucho Marx or anybody took a big stand on the issues. He's like, look, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to entertain. The problem with guys like Kimmel and Colbert and others, not so much Fallon. I'll let Fallon off the hook on this one. But all those other guys, that's exactly what they want to use their platforms for. They don't want to entertain. Sorry, I'm going off on a rant here, but I mean, yeah, I'm responding to this. And Kawan, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, and this is the point some people get. Michael Jordan said it best. Republicans buy sneakers too. Have you ever heard? Look, Michael Jordan, I'm not going to say is a hardcore lefty, but he's pretty well lefty. But he's got the good sense as a businessman to realize, hey, I'm leaving my politics out of it. I want people to buy my shoes. Okay? Oh, this is absolutely true about Carson. Totally true about Carson. You know. Wait a minute. WWG1 just sent me something here. Hang on a second. Hang on. All right, what have you done, you madman? Hang on a minute. Now, see, this is what I love is when the audience gets interactive. Sometimes I'll get clips, and let's see what the heck this is. What? Wait a minute. Yeah, I agree with you here. Now, we said a moment ago that some people understand the whole purpose of late night television, and that is entertainment. Well, one of the people you could truly say that about, or maybe it's better to say in this case, two of them, were Chris Farley and David Letterman. And if you don't believe me, watch this. Wait a minute!
I've done this show an awful long time. That right there, sir, enjoy this, was the finest entrance a guest has ever made. Chris Farley.
Now you watch if CBS doesn't copyright strike me for that one, but you know what? I don't care. That one's too good. Yeah, he probably Chris Farley probably was coked to the gills when he did that, but that's just funny as all get out. I'm sorry. Yeah, we get your meaning, brother. We get your meaning. yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh! Now, Salty, what are you doing over there on Rumble? All right, hang on, y'all. I'm getting another thing coming in. Yeah, Coke does. The Coke was great. Oh God! To the DEA who may be watching, to the DEA officials who may be watching this live stream, I disavow. Jeez. All right, hang on a minute. Salty old farts chiming in now. Hang on a minute. What did he do here? Oh my gosh. Hang on. Gotta see this. Oh, yep. Now this is a good point too. This is a good point. We're going back to a previous meme talking about the passing of Ozzy and Malcolm Jamal Warner and Hulk Hogan. People are now asking a very legitimate question, and it's this. And you know what? I can't blame them for asking this, man. You know, what is going on with Keith Richards? Oh my gosh. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see the man pass away from this world, but daggone it. I mean, people are legitimately asking what, I mean, you know, when the Grim Reaper can't get Keith Richards, what the heck? Jeez. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, y'all are awesome this morning. I tell you what, y'all are absolutely awesome. Oh my goodness. Goodness me. All right. What else have we got going on out there in the way of the crazy memes? Oh, yeah. Well, there's a certain amount of braggadociousness that go, you know. This one is for all you merry meme makers out there. You merry meme. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this one. Chuck Mangione. Jeez. Maybe not as well known as some people, but man, probably one of the best horn players you're ever going to listen to. I'm telling you what, it's been a rough week. Really. That's a really good description of Keith Richards. That is a really good description, old Keith Richards. Let me tell you something. Anyway, now this one is for all you meme makers, you meme contributors out there. We love what you do, but sometimes y'all get into some serious competition with each other. I mean, to the point, it's just downright ridiculous. The links that y'all will go to try and prove how good you are with your memes. I mean, seriously, really, y'all. Y'all just ridiculous, some of you out there. Yeah. Oh, I got a meme stash that's huge. All right. Pull it out. Let's see it. Yeah, y'all are just. Yeah, we'll all just be sitting over here in the corner while y'all get this competitiveness out of your system. I'm just saying. My gosh. Oh, I can't really say that's self-referential. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Although there is another celebrity that I've heard about, and I know who it is, and for all I know, it could be internet rumor. Okay. So I'm not going to say anything, but if God forbid this one goes in the next few weeks, it's going to rip my heart out. It really will. Because, and again, I'm not trying to feed the fire out there. I'm not trying to do anything else. I'm just saying, if the rumor is true and this next one goes, I will probably cry. I really will. And like I said, I'm not giving you the name, not to tease y'all with it or anything like that, but just, I don't want to contribute to some, unfounded rumor if it turns out to be untrue. But if this one winds up being true, man, I am going to cry, because this person is like, man, a lot of great memories for a lot of good reasons. No, yeah, it's not Jeff Lynne, I'll tell you that much. But I agree with you there. Jeff Lynne is one of the most underrated musicians of the latter half of the latter part of the 20th century. That man was a genius. Absolute genius. Was and is. He's still alive, by the way. For younger folks in the audience, who's Jeff Lynne? Jeff Lynne is the lead guitarist and lead vocalist of the group known as the ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra. And absolutely brilliant. A lot of great hits from the. No, I think he's a good musician. I think he's good. Good musician, good guitar player. Anywho, sorry about that. And we will agree to disagree. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, honey, you're not the only one who's going to need more than a minute when that lady passes from this world. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I can't disagree with this one. I can't disagree with this one. Cannot Todd Rundgren is a musical genius. Doesn't get nearly the credit he deserves. WWG1 over on Rumble says ELO were originally studio musicians who chose to form their own band. Not surprised by that. I mean, ELO is good music. It really is. Really is. Anywho, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Hang on a second, folks. Now I'm just all discombobulated, but that's all right. Oh. On a little more serious subject, we have heard about a new politician in Great Britain who is, I'm not sure what political party he belongs to, but yeah, I don't know how successful this poor cat's going to be. We got a clip of him giving a campaign speech somewhere, and I got to tell you, folks, look, I am all for shock value in politics. I'm all for all of that, but I tell you what, I don't know how far this guy's going to get in his native England. So, but we'll listen to a little bit of his political speech, and you guys tell me what you think. Anyway, with that said, check this guy out and tell me if you think he's going to get anywhere.
I know a lot of immigrants personally, and they're perfectly nice people. They're black, of course, which is a shame. But honestly, some of them can do some jobs almost as well as white people, and we acknowledge this. Now, a lot of immigrants are Indians and Pakistanis, for instance, and I like curry. But now that we've got the recipe, is there really any need for them to stay?
Guys, I don't know. I just don't see this guy being all that successful in politics, even in Great Britain. Okay. I believe in honesty in politics, but I'll tell you what, this guy's like taking it just a little too far. It's like, But it is Great Britain. Crazier things have happened. Who knows? Maybe he'll get elected to the House of Commons or something like that. I have no idea. Oh my God. Woo. Yeah, buddy. Anyway. Oh goodness. What else do we have? Well, for you football fans, good news for you, be you a college football fan or a pro football fan. Your time is about here. When the calendar rolls over to next weekend, we are headed for football season. Football camps will start coming back in. High school camps will start coming back in. College and pro camps. And, with every new football season, everybody's trying to figure out how do you get more people in the stands, especially pro teams. They're always trying to figure out what kind of attractions do we do to get more people into the stadium to watch our football team? And also, more importantly, how do we get them to stay during the game? Well, the Dallas Cowboys have now come up with a very unique way to get people to stay, but I don't know if this one is considered to be practical or if this is really such a good idea. Using your stadium security to force your fans to stay and watch the whole game, even if you're getting blown out, 52-0. I think Jerry Jones and the boys down there in Dallas might want to rethink this whole strategy. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. This is just, if this is what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do to try and get people to watch their team all the way to the end of the fourth quarter, I don't know, man. I have a strange feeling this one might backfire. Call me crazy if you wish. I don't know, man. I just don't know. All right. Just about there. We're almost to the end of the merry memes, but some of the memes. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Sorry, folks. Well, yeah, actually, we are kind of to the end of the merry memes, but and we should start a discussion of our first topic of the morning. That is Ghislaine Maxwell is in the news, and got to get into a discussion of some of what's going on down there in Tallahassee. However, before we do, we should acknowledge the fact that, I say, good for Ghislaine. If nothing else, these discussions she's currently having with the Department of Justice are starting to highlight the conditions in which she finds herself. But the good news is she's at least being treated humanely, and she is receiving regular visits to keep her from, I guess, getting real lonely as she's in jail. And with that said, we managed to get our hands on a clip from the Tallahassee Federal Prison just to give you proof that, she is being treated humanely, receiving visits from individuals to help keep her spirits up. We got a hold of a clip. We thought you might want to see it just to kind of, let you know that human beings still care about each other out there. So with that said, and here you go.
Maxwell!
Yeah?
You got a visitor!
Hi, Ghislaine!
Long time no see! Hi, Ghislaine!
Who are you?
Ghislaine, it's Bill and Hillary! Don't you recognize we're your lawyers!
That's right, Miss Maxwell! We're Smith & Jones, attorneys at law, and we need to know what you're going to tell the judge about
tell us all the dirty details, and we'll get you out of here lickety-split.
That's right!
We're here to help!
Yeah, give us the names on the client list and you're a free woman!
But there is no client list.
What are you talking about? Of course there was a client list. There's no client list.
Oh, there's lots and lots of clients. They don't just lock you up for trafficking nobody.
Well, duh. Can you name a few?
Oh, I can name more than a few. Prince Andrew, Dershowitz, Bill Gates, Stephen King, Kevin Spacey. The list goes on and on.
Well, what about me? Is that all?
Oh, no. I've got lots and lots of names. Bankers, flight logs, even an ex-president with 27 trips to the island.
26.
What?
You said 27, but it was actually 26. Go on.
Yeah, what else you got?
I've got lots more. Politicians, CEOs. Let me out and I'll name them all.
Well, Ghislaine, that's awfully patriotic of you.
So what happens now?
Well, now we give you a surprise.
What's the surprise?
We're not actually lawyers.
Well, if you're not lawyers, who are you?
We're the Clintons.
Surprise!
Hillary, Bill, what is this all about?
I think you know.
Yeah, now, what do you want your goodbye note to say?
Guards, help!
Well, at least she's getting visitors. I mean, good for her. That's all I'm saying. I just, at least she's getting visitors. Well, yeah, I'll give you that one, Kawan. I'll give you that one. True. But it was intended to be hopefully a little bit of fun. So, yeah, I have a feeling old Ghislaine going to be getting a lot of visitors in the coming days. Now, in case you're wondering exactly what I'm talking about, that little attempt at humor, and I gotta thank the folks at the United Spot. I guess they're a bunch of meme makers. Dilly, I think you got competition, brother. But anyway, if you're wondering exactly what I am referring to, I got a story here from the New York Post, and then I guess it'll kind of kick off our big topic discussions. And we have the following. Headline: Ghislaine Maxwell granted limited immunity while giving Department of Justice 100 different people linked to Jeffrey Epstein, says a report. Article by Samuel Chamberlain and Josh Christensen. We have the following. Dateline, Tallahassee, Florida. Notorious sex criminal Ghislaine Maxwell answered questions from Department of Justice officials about, quote, 100 different people linked to late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, an attorney for the disgraced socialite claimed Friday following 2 days of interrogation led by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, during which she was reportedly offered limited immunity. David Oscar Marcus told reporters that his client, currently serving a 20-year sentence after being convicted in Manhattan of federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges in December 2021, was, quote, asked about every possible thing you can imagine, everything. This was the first opportunity she's been given to answer questions about what happened, Marcus said. The truth will come out about what happened with Mr. Epstein, and she's the person who's answering those questions. Going a little further into the article, Blanche had every single question answered during the sit-down. Maxwell's attorney also said, with the British-born convict declining to plead the Fifth Amendment. Quote, if she lies, they could charge her with lying. And that's an important point. Now, let's back off of this article for a second because I want to show you what it is she was offered. So give me 1 second here because I got a couple of things. The possibility of her being offered what's called limited immunity was first reported by ABC News. So I'll give them a hat tip on this one. ABC News article, Ghislaine Maxwell received limited immunity during meetings with Deputy Attorney General, sources said. Now, the type of immunity she was offered is called a proffer immunity. All right. Now, Robert Barnes, who is one of the folks out there on social media that I follow on a regular basis, weighed in on this. A proffer immunity is also referred to, let me find the exact title of it here. Give me 1 second. Just when I need something, I can't put my hands on it fast. Don't you love that? Hang on. Oh, come on. There it is. A proffer immunity is also known as a fruits and use immunity. Basically, and this is again from Robert Barnes, a fruits use and fruits immunity precludes anything she says from being used against her so long as she is telling the truth. Okay? In other words, basically, it's this. Ghislaine, you tell us the truth. Whatever you tell us, we don't use against you. The moment we find out you're lying, whatever you tell us is fair game. We're going after you for it. Okay? Now, and then, well, let me get to a comment over on Rumble. WWG1 says, I don't believe this is the first time she's been questioned. She squealed like a stuck pig long ago. Could be. Could be the case. Salty Old Fart says, she's not pleading the Fifth. That's pretty big. I agree with you. I agree with that. Yeah, come on, you're absolutely right. This makes her the queen for the day. I'll agree with that. All right, let's get back to that article from the New York Post. I just want to try and give you some context for what they're talking about on this limited immunity. All right, back to said article, and we have the following. A reporter said they did charge her with lying, referring to two perjury counts that Marcus noted were dropped by the feds after her conviction. No one is above the law and no one is off limits, Blanche posted on Twitter on Tuesday and announcing he would be speaking with Maxwell. Maxwell, 63, is appealing her conviction and sentencing. Legal observers have speculated her willingness to answer questions is tied to a potential clemency grant by President Trump. Her attorney described the commander-in-chief Friday as the ultimate dealmaker and claimed his client had been treated unfairly for the past 5 years and didn't get a fair trial. We hope he exercises that power in a right and just way, Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney Marcus added. Okay. All right, let's get into some of this. Because, look. I don't know what, let me rephrase that. I think I know what Ghislaine Maxwell's playing for here. And I think the speculation is correct. She's either playing for one of three things. A reduction in sentence, which to me is, I think, the best deal she will get. Okay. Number two, commutation of sentence, which, yeah. Or number three, she wants the ultimate get out of jail card. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you here. She wants out. And frankly, having watched what happened to her boyfriend, old Jeffrey, I'd be wanting out of there too. I mean, supposedly, according to rumors, she is scared to death right now, and I don't blame her. Jeffrey wound up suiciding himself in federal prison up in New York under very, shall we say, odd circumstances. So I don't blame the woman for being scared to death. She desperately has got to find a way out of this. Which sort of begs the question, if she's that desperate, what will she give up? Or maybe better to say, who does she give up? Now, y'all know how I feel about the way Trump has handled this whole Maxwell thing, or this whole Epstein thing, ever since it flared up again about 30 days ago. In a case like this, I have never, and again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. In one sense, I'm a Johnny-come-lately to this whole issue of Jeffrey Epstein. You guys out there in the audience are so much better and have followed this case way longer than I ever have. You got more knowledge of the details. You're more tuned into it than I am. I'll freely grant you that. So I'm kind of coming to it late. But, I've always said there are certain principles that ought to be adhered to. And one of them is transparency. I did not like the way Trump handled this thing at the start. Make it go away. Make it, we're not going to talk about it. If you do talk about it, you're not one of my supporters. You're a dummy. You're falling for that whole Russia hoax, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sorry. I love Donald Trump, but I blame him specifically for how he did not communicate well what he was thinking. And the thinking was this, at least according to some people. Okay. I know that the Justice Department, controlled by Democrats or the deep state, has had access and control of these files for years. God only knows what they took out of them. God only knows what they slipped into them. And I'm not going to get distracted going down this rabbit hole. Now, again, I blame Trump for this one. He did not communicate that well. He just didn't. And the more he kept saying, we're not going to look at this, everybody wants to start looking at it. Okay? I don't blame her for being scared. The thing that pisses me off the most is the insult to our intelligence. We all know he didn't off himself. The thyroid bone didn't break when self-deleting that way. Yeah, okay, very true. Very true. Well, now hang on a minute. If Trump was trafficking in underage girls out of Mar-a-Lago, why didn't this come out before now? Look, I have always said, like Trump, don't like Trump. If Trump's involved in this, let the truth be known. And that's why I've said, disclose it all. Everything. Obviously, protect the victims. No releasing any child porn. But short of those two things, let everything come out. The grand jury testimony, bank records on Epstein, all of it. Let's just get this out in the open once and for all. To borrow a great line from JFK, let justice be done or the heavens fall. Okay? The more Trump kept trying to squash this thing, the more everybody's like, I want to see it. 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 Nah, be nice. Be nice. That's all I ask. Trump did not handle this well when it flared up about 30 days ago. However, he's finally reached the point of what everybody was trying to tell him at the beginning. Just release it all and be done with it. Just be done with it. And I think that's what they're now trying to do. You see them filing motions up in the Southern District of New York in front of a federal judge up there. Justice Department is asking for the grand jury testimony to be released. They filed one down in Florida. That got denied. Just release it all. Everything. Just put it out there. Now, what do we get from the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell's talking? I have no idea yet. No idea yet. Now, there is one other thing that's being done that I kind of like. And the fact is that Trump, and you can say he's doing it for whatever reason, that's perfectly fine. Trump is trying to turn this and say, hey, you want to talk about Epstein? Let's talk about people who were associated with Epstein. Okay? For example, so he's on his way out to Marine One, and as Trump is prone to do, he takes questions. And here's a little bit of an exchange that went on between Trump and some of the reporters. Check this out.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Okay, that's a little bit of an exchange between Trump and the reporters before he boarded Air Force One. I give Trump this, okay? I will give him this. You got lemons, make lemonade out of it. Okay, y'all want to talk about Epstein? Let's talk about Epstein. Let's talk about the fact that Bill Clinton was, at least on the Lolita Express about 27 or 28 times. God only knows how many. How many times was he down at the island? Let's talk about Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard. Let's talk about a bunch of hedge fund guys in New York City. There's an old expression, and y'all have heard it, I know, and it says, be careful what you wish for. I don't like the way Donald Trump handled this thing when it got started. I'm still not totally sold on the way he's handling it now, but I'll say this. He's handling it better. He's handling it better now because he's doing what everybody suggested he do all along. Just release it. Protect the victims. Obviously, no CP. Short of those two things, all of it. Grand jury testimony, bank, everything. Put it out there. The Democrats want to see this so bad. Like I said, be careful what you ask for. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, the other thing that I'm trying to be cognizant of, and I think it's fair. There has been severe disappointment in this country over the past, call it at least 10 years, probably longer. Okay. Of people not receiving the justice that we, the American people, think they deserve. All right. The Deputy Attorney General is talking to Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is not pleading the fifth. According to reports, she's answering every question. She's giving up information. Supposedly, boxes of documents are being brought to the U.S. Attorney's office down there in Tallahassee. What does it mean? I don't know yet. Does it mean someone's going to get arrested? I have no idea. I will say this, and this is my advice to Todd Blanche, for what it's worth. Hey, Todd, if you don't come out of this with something being defined as evidence-based conviction of some people who circled around Jeffrey Epstein, it's not only going to be bad for you, it's going to be bad for your boss. And I'm not talking about Pam Bondi, I'm talking Trump. So if you're doing all this as the world's biggest bluff, I really recommend you not pursue that strategy, my friend, because this will get uglier than it already is. Salty old fart over on Rumble says, but the Democrats wanted to say it was fake before. Now they want them released, and now again they want to keep them hidden. You got it. Basically, what the Democrats wanted, and if the shoe were on the other foot, let's be honest about it, the Republicans would do the same thing too. Okay, let's just be perfectly blunt about this. There's a lot of things that are working into this whole Epstein issue right now. One of them is the desire for the truth. Okay. The other is politics. The Democrats, for the better part of 6 months, have not been able to figure out what the heck do you do with Donald Trump. It seems like everywhere he goes right now, he's winning everything. They are trying desperately to find a way to get up off the mat. Well, in their mind, this whole resurgence of a discussion about Jeffrey Epstein may be their way to do it. However, I still go back to what I said. Be careful what you ask for. You don't know. Let me rephrase it. We don't know of a certainty whose names are still in those files. And if it turns out that everything gets released, let's just say theoretically, everything gets released, okay? If it turns out that everything gets released and there are way more prominent Democrats in those Epstein lists than there are Republicans, I'll make you a prediction right now, and I don't think I'm too far off the mark. You will never hear another Democrat say one single solitary word about Jeffrey Epstein ever again. Because it's of no political advantage to them. It's a political liability. Salty old fart over on Rumble says, if Trump is the only reason the Dems want them released, it would be because Trump is on the list. And they would have hung him years ago. I'm not buying it. Fair point. Professor Tie-Dye is in the house. Good morning, Professor Tie-Dye. A hat tip and a fist bump to you, sir. Good morning, Brian and chat. Glad to have you here, Tie-Dye. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I mean, to the Democrats, I mean, look, you want it released, fine. Then let's just do it all. And by the way, if you're thinking that the federal judiciary is going to help you out, talking to the Democrats, mind you, if you think the federal judiciary is going to help you out, every time that they deny the release of federal grand jury information, that's going to redound to Trump's benefit. Now, how much of it? I don't know yet. Because Trump's biggest problem right now is he's getting sidetracked, among others, but he's getting sidetracked. So, where does it go from here? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, and by the way, hush. Kevin Spacey was on with Piers Morgan recently. Kevin Spacey supposedly is linked to Jeffrey Epstein. You know what? Let's talk about it. I'll let you guys hear it for yourself. Check this out.
I was very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it. But here's my point. There's a big difference between not remembering that I met some guy and some woman on a humanitarian trip where my focus was entirely on what we were there to do and not remembering whether I went to somebody's island. So I never went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I did not know him, and I never saw him or her after that morning at Buckingham Palace. He didn't even come to Buckingham Palace.
Is it true that...
Yeah, you Democrats want all this released. Okay. Be careful what you ask for. Exactly. I don't care if it's Democrats on the list. I don't care if it's Republicans on the list. I just want to know, were there other individuals who engaged in the behavior that Jeffrey Epstein did, and are they going to be charged, tried, and found guilty? Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah. Eden's Refuge. Good morning, friends. Glad to catch a show. Well, Eden, we're glad to have you over there too on Rumble, and good morning to you. Look. Look, it's the Democrats screaming the most for the release of this stuff. Okay, let's just find out how bad you want it. Just saying. So we'll see where all this goes from here. And going to be keeping an eye on it. I do want to play one more clip before we move on to our next topic. And this is from the Ingram angle the other night. She had on Byron York from the Washington Examiner and Matt Towery. And Matt Towery made a really, really good point. And I just want to play a little snippet of this to close this out. So, folks, do me a favor, check this out, and tell me what you think.
Well, I mean, it's all deflection, right? So here's a good question to ask. And now you sort of glanced at this earlier. Why in the world would the democratically controlled Justice Department that was very active, a very active Justice Department, did no one ever decide to go down and talk to Ms. Maxwell in the first place? I think the answer is because no one wanted to know what she would say, because it probably wasn't going to be good. So now you realize that this is probably not going to be a good thing for the Democrats. So what do? They deflect again, and they say, oh, this is a big crisis for Donald Trump. Big crisis in Epstein. I don't think there's a crisis at all for Donald Trump. I think what they've done is they're trying to deflect from the past. They're trying to make the new news that Tulsi Gabbard had sound like, oh, that's just old news. It's nothing to see here. And let me give you a poll that'll back me up on this. So the media that you're talking about would not report on anything that Gabbard referred to the Justice Department for 4 or 5 days. I was in the field Tuesday at a poll back. About 80% of Republicans know about that referral. About 62% of independents know about it. Less than 50% of Democrats do, because they all rely on that old regime media. But somehow, social media always gets around this media group, and sooner or later, the truth is going to come out, both on Epstein, but also on what took place in 2016.
Now, Matt Towery makes a really good point, and there's a lot of reasons why Trump should release everything on Epstein. But there's perhaps one reason above all else, and it's this. If you want this stuff with Tulsi Gabbard to get traction, you've got to get Epstein. Let me phrase this carefully. You've got to get the Epstein issue off to the side. Don't get me wrong. If whatever is revealed needs to be pursued to the fullest extent of the law, okay? Absolutely. I'm not saying, shuffle it off to a corner and ignore it. I'm saying deal with it appropriately. And having done that, let us now focus on the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard is finding out from her work over at the Department of National Intelligence. Okay? Let's find out what she's revealing. Let's find out who's involved. Did John Brennan break the law? Did James Clapper, the former director of national intelligence under Obama, did he break the law? Did James Comey, the FBI director, did he break the law? You want that train to leave the station and pick up a head of steam behind it? Then put Epstein on a separate track where everything is out, everything is there, it's on the table. People can decide, in the court of public opinion or in the court of law, if it comes to that. and then we can focus wholeheartedly on everything Tulsi Gabbard is doing. But he does bring up a really good point. If the Justice Department want to know what Ghislaine Maxwell knew, how come they didn't talk to her before now? Back then, it was controlled by the Democrats. They could have found anything they wanted to know and did not do it. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. Eden's Refuge over on Rumble says, I wonder how much of it they doctored and prepped for this. They were in possession of it, the Epstein files, long enough. That's a good question. That's fair. Salty Old Fart says, that's the point of the Dems wanting it released. It's being tried in the court of public opinion. Well, Salty, I agree with you. And like I said, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Anyway, let us move on to a different topic. But before we do, I'm going to do a real quick commercial. If you happen to be joining us for the very first time this morning, if you happen to be out there looking around and saying, hey, who is this handsome devil in the hat? Well, you have found your way to a live stream that I do on the weekends called Front Porch Brunch, and my name is Brian Trippett, and I am known as the Front Porch Conservative. I do this live stream. I also do a live stream on Wednesdays called the Wednesday Night Newsroom. We get together, we talk about the news, everybody gets to give their view on it. Like I say, we try and make our way through this crazy thing we call life. So if that's your cup of tea, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and on Rumble. Also, while you're at it, hit the bell for notifications, leave a comment in chat, hit the thumbs up, and do all those things you do. Share the link around to your friends and say, hey, he's goofy looking, but he knows what he's talking about, I think. Anyway, all right, let us get into another topic du jour. And that is, one last thing. Somebody snapped a picture of Ghislaine after her interview, and I'll say this: bless her heart, she might have cause for concern. I'm just saying she might have cause for concern. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Anyway, found that one. I was like, oh, that's just too good. I got to use that one. No, wait, I can't say. I think that was WWG1 that sent me that one. So anyway, apologies, WWG1. If you did send me that one, not trying to rob you of the rightful credit you deserve. Anyway, as you all know, Candace Owens, live streamer, commentator, provocateur, is being sued by French President Emmanuel Macron and more particularly his wife Brigitte. And we talked about this Wednesday night, but I have a follow-up on that. I found something I thought you guys might be interested in seeing. And what this gets down to, and this has been going on, as I mentioned the other night, this has been going on for a little over a year. Candace Owens is claiming that Brigitte Macron is a man who, I guess, transitioned to being a woman, etc., and so on. Now, the Macrons brought suit not only in France against some French commentator, but they've also brought suit in the state of Delaware against Candace Owens, particularly on a charge of defamation. Now, a lot of attorneys you might listen to, Nate the lawyer, Viva Fry, and others, are of the opinion that Candace has got nothing to worry about. And that may be the case. It may be the case. However, I did find a contrarian's opinion, and it comes from one of the folks that I follow on social media, and I know y'all do too, and that is Robert Barnes. And I want to take a moment to read you his argument as to why he thinks that old Candace, that her collective goose might be cooked on this one. And this is fairly interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. From the Barnes brief, we have the following. The First Amendment heavily shaped libel law in America, immunizing opinions that do not imply facts. This is Robert Barnes writing. Statements that do not reference an identifiable individual and claims made with a good faith basis and due regard for their truth remain. Other privileges or immunities may exist depending upon the jurisdiction, including the fair reporting privilege concerning governmental bodies, anti-SLAPP procedural protections, and the like. A good start to assess how courts will likely construe the law on any given topic is the pattern jury instructions courts commonly issue as guidance for trial judges to explain the law to juries. To prove libel of a public figure requires the following. 1. A statement made to a third party. 2. The statement could be reasonably understood to be about a third person. 3. The statement could reasonably be understood to state or imply a fact about the third person harmful to their reputation, defamatory. The statement was factually false. And finally, the defendant either knew the statement was false, had doubts about its truth, or disregarded a substantial and unjustifiable risk the statement was false, actual malice. Going a little bit further into Mr. Barnes' opinion, in the Candace Owens case, the Macrons alleged the following lies and libel by Owens. That Mr. Macron is an MK Ultra project whose parents are not his real parents, where he was kidnapped, abused, engaged in incestuous relations with his wife as a close blood relative as part of the Rothschild family, murdered journalists who asked questions about this topic, bribed and extorted other journalists who asked these questions, admitted he engaged in illicit sexual assault by his now wife when he was a 15-year-old student and she was a 39-year-old teacher, that Emmanuel Macron engaged in crimes of forgery, fraud, bribery, extortion, blackmail, attempted murder, incest, and rape, while worshiping Satan and Baphomet in a cult, and was supporting the Ukraine war for as long as anyone asked these questions about these topics. Candace Owens also states that Mrs. Macron is a biological male who fathered 3 kids with another woman hidden from view, that her brother doesn't exist, but that she is secretly him, that Brigitte Macron was never married, never gave birth to 8 children, engaged in the crimes of forgery, fraud, bribery, extortion, blackmail, attempted murder, incest, and rape, while worshiping Satan and Baphomet in a cult, and admitted she had no photos before the age of 30, and admitted she engaged in statutory rape of Mr. Macron, and in that effort disguised sources. Hang on just a second. Let me get my... catch this up. Fabricate evidence. Here we go. Fabricate evidence and ignore exculpatory evidences. Lied about what documents or photos existed in books, articles, documentaries, and even the retraction letter sent by the Macrons repeatedly to her, denying the allegations and providing substantial evidence proving the falsity of the records. The evidence presented to Owens rebutting her claims include birth records, marriage records, court transcripts of sworn testimony, extensive photographic records, and a wide range of records vetted and verified by third-party sources. Candace Owens' apparent sources include a self-proclaimed psychic, a self-proclaimed amateur detective, and a right-wing newsletter writer whose first libels predated the Macrons' ability to sue, including 2 defendants already found criminally liable for libel on these precise claims. Delaware includes which, by the way, Delaware is where this suit by the Macrons was filed. Delaware includes a no mischievous nor malicious purpose defense, and the complaint alleges she profited substantial sums for these claims while bragging about their reputational harm that it would cause the Macrons. That Candace Owens ignored retraction requests and lied to her audience about the content of the redaction requests. Additionally, the complaint identifies a recurring pattern, including Owens' past libels, fitting the Macrons into devil-worshipping, bomb-ahead idolizing Satanists, drinking Christian blood, who use child sex trafficking to perpetrate their power through pedophile rape. As she alleges, those identified as Jews are really these devil worshiper Khazarians who wrongly disparage Nazi Dr. Mengele and include Joseph Stalin and now the Macrons. Yikes. I didn't realize this is everything that Candace Owens has said. Last paragraph. Reviewing the complaint, it is useful to remember the Macrons only need to win on one single statement being libelous, not every statement. Reviewing some of the sources cited in the detailed complaint, it is nigh on impossible seeing Candace win at trial. Then compound that with the venue, a 2-to-1 Democrat jury pool to the left of Austin, Texas, and a judicial pool in one of the most partisan places in the nation, and she is completely cooked. And I'll tell you what, I will say this. If Candace Owens alleged all of that over the years about the Macrons, okay, and don't get me wrong, I have no great love for Emmanuel Macron, politically or otherwise. But if all that stuff is in the that Candace Owens has said, she is, oh God, this could get ugly. I mean, really ugly. The Macrons could take her to the cleaners. And, Barnes brings up a good point. Suits brought in Delaware, 2-to-1 Democrat state. Jury pool is going to be heavily slanted toward Democrats. And granted, the Macrons are international individuals, but the jury's probably going to be sympathetic to the Macrons. And even if they weren't, like I said, if all the stuff that's alleged that Candace Owens said about the Macrons, and they can prove it, woo. Or I should say the Macrons can prove that Candace Owens said all this about them and it was libelous, oh boy. Her goose is cooked. Now, fair point. This is a fair point. That's true. I don't dispute that. Robert Barnes has absolutely no love whatsoever for Candace Owens. I will concede that. But as a matter of law, he might very well be right on this one. But I acknowledge you're right. Robert Barnes has no love whatsoever for Candace Owens. None. So we'll see. True. I agree with that. Yeah, why would Candace Owens do this? Or I should say, why has she been doing this over the past year where Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron are concerned? I think the answer to that question is yes, Candace Owens has probably stepped in it. True. That's true. I'm just giving you one man's take on the thing. I thought it was pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens here. We will see what happens. All right. Let us move on to one of my favorite sections of this live stream, and that is HodgePodge Stew. We've got some pretty interesting stuff lined up for HodgePodge. And the first topic we're going to get into is more in the way of pop culture than is anything else. Now, for those of you who maybe are joining us for the very first time, let me explain HodgePodge Stew. HodgePodge Stew is that section of the show where I've got a collection of stories. They're not necessarily the biggest topics in the world, but, they're news items. Interesting, I think, and definitely worth giving a talk to. And I want to get into a discussion, and it's going to seem a little bit odd in one sense, so my apologies in advance, but I think you're going to see where I'm going with this one. How many of you out there have seen the new American Eagle commercial featuring Sydney Sweeney? The one with the Ford Mustang car. Just out of curiosity. If you've seen it, give me an F in the chat on both sides, on Rumble and on YouTube. Have you seen the American Eagle blue jean commercial that is out there that features actress Sydney Sweeney and also features a Ford Mustang? Ford Mustang. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Good morning, Miss Courtney. Glad to have you here, sweetie. Okay. You've seen it. Z Highness has seen it. Gypsy's seen it. All right. WWG1 says, have not seen it at all. Well, WWG1, you're in for a treat. I want to play this commercial, and not necessarily because American Eagle needs my help advertising their blue jeans. Okay. That's not my point. But I want to set this up to kind of discuss something with you guys, just to get your all's take on it, okay? So, with that said, for those of you who have never seen this commercial, let me play this for you guys. It's a 20-second commercial, and we'll talk about
it. Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Jeans.
Okay, that's the commercial. Like I said, it's 20 seconds. Okay. WWG1 says, not WWG. Well, okay. The gentlemen are going to get, may very well get a bigger kick out of this topic for the moment than maybe some of the rest of y'all. So the Wingnuts over on Rumble, WWG1 says, nice cams. TBA says, great diphthongs, nicely rounded. Okay. Easy, boys. Easy, okay? TBA's like, I love it already. Just easy there over there, fellas, okay? Easy. Well, now, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I want to get into this. All right. Let's just talk about that particular commercial for a second. All right. You had a hot girl, and I'm sorry, Sydney Sweeney's hot. There just ain't no getting around that. You had a hot girl, pair of good blue jeans that fit just right, muscle car. Well, you can't really call that kind of a Mustang a muscle car, but you get my point. Hot car, hot girl, hot pair of blue jeans. It's a 20-second commercial. She, peels out, etc. That, okay, for those of you, who are seasoned enough to remember this, does that commercial not remind you, of a commercial from the 80s or the 90s, maybe even? It's definitely not the kind of advertising we've seen over the past 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years. Okay? That feels like an old school commercial. That feels like, what we used to do if we want to try and sell a product. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. That's a real good way of putting it. Yeah. That's great. I love that. Thank you, sir. Yes. If you have any glands at all, you had to respond. That's great. Well, now, Robert, you bring up. Robert, I just saw your comment over there. We're going to get to that. Hold on, brother. So you got, I mean, and they've run, and that's not the only American Eagle commercial featuring Sydney Sweeney. There are 2 or 3 others, but I'm trying to keep this family friendly, you know, etc. There are others out there. And right now, the wingnuts over on Rumble are just like keyboarding for all they're worth. They're like, where are these commercials? I must see these commercials. Oh my gosh, where are these other commercials at with Sydney Sweeney? Literally, there is smoke coming off of their fingers trying to find these other American Eagle Sydney Sweeney blue jean commercials. I'm telling you, I can just see it happening right now. TBA says, I can feel the testosterone rising in the chat. You think? Anyway, so you've got that, and then you've got another commercial, and this one's by Nike. And for those of you who are fans of golf, and I want to set this up, Scotty Scheffler is a golfer. He recently won the British Open. Okay. And Nike's got an ad out, and it looks like this. Okay. Let me get this set up now. Here we go. Take a look at this. That baby is actually Scotty Scheffler's son. Okay. I love this. And I'm not even necessarily a golf fan. I'm not necessarily even a Nike person per se. I wear a lot of Nike stuff. But I just like this. I really do. It's just it's wholesome. It's simple. It's cool. This is very kudos, and I mean this seriously. Kudos to the marketing folks at Nike. This is good. Now, granted, it's coming off the fact that Scotty Scheffler just won the British Open. So yeah, you're taking advantage of the moment. I get that. Okay. But it's simple, it's family oriented. It's an athlete, a professional athlete in the prime of his career, etc. Now, I bring all this up because I want to go to something that Alex Marlowe from Breitbart said on a broadcast, and I've got the transcript of it. And it's this. Alex Marlowe made the following statement. I'm going to put this up on the screen, let you guys take a look at it. Because I think Alex brings up a really good point. Quote, Nike, which used to put out ads of homely, overweight women in obscure sports, now they've got this family guy who happens to be a straight white Christian who says it's a picture with him and his son saying, you've already won. It's a beautiful ad. It's profound. I hate that it was Nike that did it because it's so good. Okay, and I can kind of understand where Alex is coming from on this, and that's his own take on it. That's perfectly fine. It's now referred to as just the Open. Okay, all right. My apologies. You're right. Okay, you're right. I mean, to me, it's always the British Open, but I'm an old fart, so I mean, what are you going to do? Now, I bring up these two ads. Okay, the Sydney Sweeney ad for American Eagle and the Scotty Scheffler ad for Nike, and I have a question. And I'd like your guys' take on this. Have companies or corporations, maybe it's better to say that, have corporations reached the point where they finally realize, we'd really be better served to go to a different form of advertising than what we've been doing for the past 7 or 8 years if we really want to sell our product as much as we would like to. Okay. Now, y'all know where I'm going with this. And who was? TBA said, sexy family-oriented TV ads. How strange after the last 8 years of crap. And I want to put Robert's comment up here. So the obesity and DEI marketing isn't working. Shocking. And that's just it. I have been wondering, I'm just going to speak for myself, okay? I have been wondering for years when it was that corporations, CEOs, chief financial officers, etc. I was wondering what it was finally going to take for these companies to realize, hey man, this DEI and woke stuff we're doing is killing us. We're not meeting our sales targets. We're not doing anything else. Maybe we need to change. I was wondering when economic rationality was going to start winning out over political ideology and advertising. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these corporations or these businesses are all of a sudden they got a case of old time religion and they decide to just swing to the political right. Okay. I have no idea the politics of most, if not all, of folks in corporate America. Okay. And their politics is their own. They can have their political opinions. That's perfectly fine. I don't necessarily care. But as executives in these companies who have a responsibility to their shareholders and have a responsibility to make money, you would think that sooner or later, economic rationality is going to win out over political ideology. Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, and again, I'm not saying the battle's over. I'm just saying we might be here to witness the turning of the tide. It might very well be that we are witnessing the wringing out of DEI and corporate wokeism out of some of these companies. Now, I'm not saying that, they're all like, oh my gosh, we're all right wingers now. We're all conservative and, we're all about family values. Now, look, I get it. I'm just saying that this is the first time in a long time that I can remember these companies actually trying to market in such a way that their products are fun, family oriented, or in the case of the Sydney Sweeney, American Eagles, sexy, hot, etc. Corporate America has tried every way in the world to be not that for the past 8 to 10 years. Maybe we're at the turning of the tide. I'm just saying. Let me get some of y'all's comments on some of this. Fatherhood and commercials, going by that Scotty Scheffler. What a concept. Yeah, exactly. Lana also says, I think the corporations are finally realizing that this nonsense is not profitable in the long term. That's what I mean. I think economic rationality is finally kicked in over top of political ideology. They realize, look, man, we might be still selling our stuff, but we ain't selling as much of it as we like because we're pissing off a bunch of people. Yeah, good point. That whole Dylan Mulvaney single campaign ad for Bud Light may have been, and again, what do I know about this stuff? I'm just a guy giving my opinion. That may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, don't get me wrong. It didn't stop other corporations from still being just as dumb. Example, Jaguar's campaign ad they did, I think it was last year. I think it was awful on so many levels. Okay. But to me, the Dylan Mulvaney campaign ad may have been the moment where all of a sudden America's like, enough of this nonsense. Enough. And remember, the parent company of Anheuser-Busch was losing their butt financially, quarter after quarter after quarter, until finally they're like, okay, enough of this nonsense. TBA over on Rumble says, when the Dylan Mulvaney ad for Bud Light came out, you could pick up 2-for-1 sale on cases of Bud Light. People just left it. Exactly. They spoke with their feet and their dollars. Lana says, I do think the Bud Light fiasco taught them a lesson. There are lines that the vast public don't want crossed, and if they do, companies will pay for it dearly. Absolutely. Absolutely, my dear. Absolutely. I saw these two ads and I'm like, well, maybe we're getting there. WWG1 says, okay, this may be the turning of the tide for corporate advertising, but I'm still holding my breath on the university front. I agree with you, but there are some bright spots that are starting to happen. Harvard, Columbia, etc. Now, we can get into that some other time, but I'm not saying that's a total loss either. Hold on, my friend. Hold on, my friend. We may be at the turning of the tide there too, but we'll see. We'll see. TBA says maybe corporations are remembering that the customer is king. Finally, I hope so. I truly do hope so. If that's the case, we may be headed for some good commercials again. Or at a bare minimum, men all across America are like, honey, I really think you should start wearing some American jeans. Oh, really? Why? Well, Sydney Sweeney. But if you see a lot of red palm prints across men's cheek, a lot of them be getting slapped over that. Just saying. Salty Old Fart says, hey, Brian, Texas is holding their redistricting hearing right now. They are trying to get more Dem districts. Oh, Jesus. I've heard about that. I haven't dived into it real good, but I've heard about that. Thank you for pointing that out. I will check into it. But yeah, I just maybe we're at the turning of the tide. Now, granted, these are two commercials. Let's see what happens. Anyway, so I saw that stuff and I thought, okay, let's talk about it. Kawan says, Larry Fink announced BlackRock was easing off the DEI ESG agenda last year. Nothing about religion, just fiscal reality. Oh, I agree with you. I like I said, I don't think these guys got a case of religion, so to speak. I just think I agree with you. Fiscal reality is starting to set in. It's like, if we don't turn this around now, we're cooked. So anyway, we might be there, brothers and sisters. We might be there. All right, let's see. Oh God, these were funny. And I would be remiss if I didn't play a couple of these. I'm sure by now you guys saw Trump's visit to the Federal Reserve the other day. Some of this stuff is absolutely priceless. And I got to play one or two clips for you here because these are good. These are just real good. The most famous one that's gone around now. This is just great. So Trump goes over to visit the renovation efforts on the Federal Reserve building, which, by the way, how much money are they spending? Well, it was listed at $2.7 billion, not million, billion. Okay. And then Trump goes over. Watch this.
Billion went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
I noticed that at about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2. This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
Our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use. But no, we don't expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not in. billion.
Now, someone made a point the other day, and I wholeheartedly agree. Whoever does PR for the Federal Reserve needs to be fired. They let Jerome Powell walk into this. TBA over on Rumble says they have a little bit of a reserve. It's our money. Oh, exactly. Exactly. WWG1 says this is the part where Trump points out on the piece of paper and it's written, "You are a retard." I don't know what exactly was written on that paper, but it made poor old Uncle Jerome kind of wince the hard way. Goodness me. I think I've got one more clip. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find it here real fast. I'm pretty sure I got one more clip. Oh yeah, this one's priceless. This one's priceless. So Trump and Jerome Powell, they take some questions from the reporters that are gathered there, and this one may be the best of the bunch. Folks, check this out.
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
Do you think this issue, Mr. President, gives you cause to do that?
Well, I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around, showing us the work. And so I don't want to get that. I don't want to be personal. I just would like to see it get finished. And in many ways, it's too bad it started. But it did start. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's going to be a real long time because it looks like it's got a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So.
Yeah, I'd fire him. Yeah, what would you do if you had a project manager that had this kind of a cost overrun? Yeah, generally speaking, I'd fire the guy. Yeesh. Oh, my. Lana's got the following. A bill has finally been introduced to strip vaccine manufacturers of their liability shield. I'll get the bill number for you. It's House Resolution 4668. Contact your reps and tell them to get behind it. Oh, absolutely. This is a good idea. I'm not for the idea of giving anybody liability protection. It's like if you make a product that gets people hurt, you should not receive protection from being sued. You ought to be sued into the Stone Age. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, call your congressmen, your senators about that one. House Resolution 4668 and strips vaccine manufacturers of their liability shield. Amen and amen. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Thank you, Lana. I appreciate that. Oh, what else do we have in the way of HodgePodge stew? Here's one that I think is kind of interesting. Elena Haba, the interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. Well, she ain't interim no more. She is now officially, well, I shouldn't say officially. She is now the acting attorney general, U.S. attorney for New Jersey. This is from CBS News. Trump yanks Elena Haba's nomination for U.S. attorney, enabling her to serve as in an acting capacity. Article by Melissa Quinn, Graham Cates, and Jacob Rosen. We got the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. President Trump on Thursday withdrew the nomination of Elena Haba, his former defense attorney, to serve as the top federal prosecutor for New Jersey, a Justice Department official confirmed, clearing the way for her to serve as the U.S. attorney in the state in an acting capacity. Mr. Trump made the move came after a federal district court set off a leadership scramble in the U.S. Attorney's Office when it declined to keep Haba in the role of U.S. Attorney and instead installed Desiree Lee Grace as the state's top federal prosecutor. Grace, who was Haba's deputy, was selected by the judges on the U.S. District Court in New Jersey to serve as U.S. Attorney for the state as Haba's 120-day term in the post wound down. But shortly thereafter, Attorney General Pam Bondi said Grace had been removed as first assistant U.S. attorney, and she excoriated the judges for tapping Grace instead of letting Haba stay in the role. The Department of Justice does not tolerate rogue judges, especially when they threaten the president's core Article 2 powers. Now, if you're wondering some of what's going on in the background here, let me try to flesh this out for everybody. Alina Habba was put in as the interim U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey. Okay. And as I'm sure most of y'all know, New Jersey is just a sinkhole of corruption, political or otherwise, but political in particular. There's a lot of stuff in New Jersey needs to get cleaned up on the county level, city level, state level, etc. It's all over the place. Okay. So Alina Habba goes in, and she's there for a period of about 120 days. And I did not know this until I started getting into this story. There is a little known, seldom used option that the federal judges in New Jersey, well, actually all over the country, that federal judges have, that they can vote, especially if an interim person who's only there for 120 days, when that's winding down, who they want as the U.S. attorney. Okay. Well, and I agree with Pam Bondi, that kind of flies in the face of the president's Article 2 powers. It's the president who nominates judges. The Senate confirms them. The judiciary should not be in the business of saying, oh, we want this person for the federal prosecutor's job. That's not the job of the judges. Now, that's not a Democrat opinion. That's not a Republican opinion. That's just common sense. Okay? If you want to open the door for corruption, yeah, let a bunch of judges determine who the prosecutor should be. The judge's only job should be, here's the case before me, here's what the law says, here's how I rule. You're not responsible for personnel matters. That's not your job. So Pam Bondi said, well, we'll fix that little problem. So Trump pulls the nomination and just makes her the acting U.S. attorney. Now, I bring that up because there's a lot of things about Alina Habba that I like. Okay, but she's also involved in something right now, which I think is kind of cool. And I want to play you a clip from Benny Johnson's show. Alina Habba was on there recently. And I think you guys are going to kind of understand why I want to see Alina Habba stay in the role of U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey. Folks, check this out.
And we've been talking about that on this program over the voter rolls and having safe and secure elections, something that I think everybody agrees is a 90-10 issue, cleaning up your voter rolls, voter ID. Can you give us a quick update on the security of elections in the state of New Jersey?
Sure. I created an election integrity task force, which again, you can interpret it however you want, but that we should not have dead people voting. We should not have people voting that shouldn't be. It's something that I think should be rolled out, and working on election integrity, which means that people that are supposed to vote, people that aren't, don't. We don't have dead people voting so that we can clean up. And it's really something we should have in this country, generally speaking. I think it's very important.
Now, what exactly that task force is going to do, I don't know for sure. Okay. Yeah. You get no argument from me, dear. You really don't. You get no argument from me on that one. But I mean, I don't know what that task force she's put together on election integrity is going to do. Okay. If, however, it pushes the Secretary of State's office in New Jersey to clean up the voter rolls, then my response to that is hip, hip, hooray. I have always said, in a straight up, even political fight, that Democrats have a very hard time winning if the voter rolls are clean. Okay? Especially in states that are very big on voting by mail. Because WWG1 brings up a really good point. I moved from Michigan 15 years ago. I bet I'm still voting there. Exactly. That is the one reason, above all else, States should be constantly cleaning up their voter rolls, okay? Because you do not want to open the door to chicanery. Look, and I'm, I believe in the sanctity of the vote. I believe very strongly in the idea that, our voting should be as secure as possible. You should have a fair, open, honest, and transparent election. Whoever wins, wins. I may not like the result of that, but if I feel like the election is fair, like I said, I might not like the results of the election, but I can live with it because I think that it's fair. When voters don't think the system is fair, that's when you got a problem. And again, to me, it's not a Democrat or a Republican or a liberal or conservative issue. A fair election is something that every state ought to be about, regardless of who's in charge of the state. Now, that said, are there states where they, shall we say, slow walk cleaning up their voter rolls? Absolutely. We all know who they are. California's notoriously bad. New Jersey's bad. Michigan's bad. There's a handful of others. But if Alina Habba can do anything to push for cleaner voter rolls and thereby get fairer elections in New Jersey, amen, sister, I'm with you. So hat tip to her, and I hope she's successful in her efforts. All right, what else do we have by the way of HodgePodge stew? Oh, this one's gonna absolutely probably send some of y'all straight up, and I don't blame you. You remember some time back that there was a concert out in, I guess it was maybe in January or February of this year, okay, that helped raise money for the folks out in the Palisades, out in California, out in LA, for those folks who were affected by the California wildfires that happened around January. And they raised a considerable amount of money. I mean, huge amount of money. And God bless them for their efforts. There were a lot of, big name singers and stars involved in it. And $100 million. $100 million. Would it shock you to find out that little or none of that money found its way to the victims of the Palisade fires? Got a headline here from justthenews.com. Trump blasts California over handling of fire aid funds intended for LA fire victims. The money that was raised during a one-night star-studded fundraiser titled Fire Aid at both SoFi Stadium and the Forum. Stars like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Olivia Rodrigo performed at the event. Article by Misty Severi. We've got the following. President Donald Trump on Friday slammed California over the unexpected, quote, disappearance of $100 million in charitable donations that were intended to go to Los Angeles County residents impacted by raging wildfires. GOP California Rep. Kevin Kiley has called for the Justice Department to investigate the distribution of the funds, which appeared to have gone to charities and nonprofits instead of residents who lost their homes in the fires. The money was raised during a one-night star-studded fundraiser titled Fire Aid at both SoFi Stadium and the Forum. Stars like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Olivia Rodrigo performed at the events, and host Miles Teller claimed, quote, all the money raised will go directly to people who need it now and long-term efforts to build back. Okay, fair enough. The Fire Aid charity told a Fox affiliate last week that the money has gone to charities and it cannot directly send the money to individuals and never intended to give the money to people directly, Fox News reported. Quote, Fire Aid is a total disaster. Looks like another Democrat-inspired scam, Trump posted to Truth Social. $100 million is missing, was supposed to go to Los Angeles fire victims, fires that with proper management would have never happened. Governor Newsom refused billions of gallons of water from Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, Trump continued. What a difference it would have made. I have since overruled him and is now released. All federal housing permits also have been approved. The city is years late, getting the fire victims their approvals to rebuild and do it now. A Los Angeles Times investigation found the funds were given to 100 nonprofits in the Los Angeles area, which have confirmed they received the money to feed and clothe survivors, provide mental health services, and save animals. I don't blame... Hang on a second. I don't blame the musicians or the performers who are trying to raise money to help out residents of Los Angeles. I mean, they're trying to do a good deed. I don't blame them. I blame the organizers because, and it may very well be this money winds up getting to the victims. Okay. Oh, hang on. Ooh. Now, if they knew it, on the other hand, that's a whole different thing. I'll give you that one. But I will almost bet you, and if I'm wrong, you guys know me, I'll come back here and say it. But I will almost bet you none of that $100 million ever gets to anybody to help them. They'll use it for everything else. Yeah, you may be right. You're probably right, dear. And it's tragedy. It really is. People gave the money in good faith with the thought that it's going to go to the victims, and almost none of it will ever get there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Ooh. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? What a freaking shame. Absolute crying shame. Jeez. Yeah, there's one of those stories that's going to make your head explode. All right. One last story, and again, this one kind of is cultural. But I think this is interesting, and I really would like to get you guys' take on this. This story comes out of Minnesota, but apparently this is also something of a national trend. Now, I have heard that enrollment in the trade schools is going up. I've also heard, and I've got to run down this detail, but I think I'm right about this, that one aspect of the big, beautiful bill was that funding for Pell Grants was changed so that if you're applying to a trade school, and again, I've got to run this down to make sure I'm right, but I think I am, that you can use Pell Grant money to pay for a trade school, carpentry, to become an electrician, to become a welder, etc. Now, if that's the case, my response to that is, heck yeah, I love that. But I want to play you guys something because I want to get into a little bit of a discussion, and I think if this trend is true, then I'm very happy, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. Folks, do me a favor. Check this out and tell me what you think. I want to hear your comments on this. This comes out of the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
Dunwoody College of Technology says interest in programs is up 25% from last year. And a lot of that comes from Gen Zers. Alex Jokic looked into the reasons behind it.
From blasting metal,
I really like to create things. I love design.
to drawing up models, Antonio Horn is switching things up. He graduated college with a marketing degree, but didn't love the prospects.
If I'm going to do something for 40 plus hours a week, it needs to be something that I'm really passionate about.
He's now part of a Gen Z swing into the skilled trades. Dunwoody's seen a 43% increase in enrollment over the last decade, including a growing number of people in their teens and 20s looking to go into fields like industrial robotics or machining. Those parts inside your cell phone or your car, these are the folks who'd make them.
Why would those students be making the shift this way instead of the traditional four-year college route?
They're kind of coming with a heightened sense of impatience. They want to get in, learn some things, practice some things, and get back out.
The average salary coming out of Dunwoody's Tech College tops $62,000.
I have students working in robotics right now as field service engineers that are making $150,000 a year, 3 or 4 years out of school.
Academic Dean E.J. Daigle says the money is one piece of the puzzle.
Many of them don't want to end up in a 4-year degree with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and not know where they're going to go to work.
Also, the flexible hours that can come with jobs like these and almost guaranteed employment. For example, the machine tools program graduates 15 students every year, but they get up to 300 requests to hire those students. Horn hopes to land a job as a technical engineer, creating electric skateboards or hearing aids.
Have you had any bites for jobs?
I have had a few so far.
And isn't surprised more people his age are also pivoting toward programs like these. In Minneapolis, Alex Jokic, 5 Eyewitness News.
Okay, I wanted to play this because this brings up something that a lot of people have had a big old bugaboo about for a long time, me included. And I say this as a person who's graduated from a 4-year university, went on to get a master's degree. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. And I'll tell you why I'm happy about this. WWG1 says, great trend. I agree. Somewhere along the way, we, the American people, and I was one of them, bought off on the notion that we have to have a 4-year degree in order to be successful and make money in America. And if the past, call it 20 or 25 years, proves anything, that is so not true. You know, granted, I'm 53 years old, and I like to think I'm still young enough I could learn to do anything in life. And, you know, yeah, I got a master's. Shocking, I know. Shocking, I know. Anyway, looking back on it, I wish that I might have followed some of my father's advice. There's a lot of things he advised me to do over the years, but one of them was, you know, he wanted me to learn everything I could about computers, because he said computers are going to be the future. This is back in the late 80s. He was telling me this. And, you know, being, you know, the foolish son that I was, I didn't take up my dad on it, which, you know, looking back, I really wished I had. But because now I'm working with computers all the time, but as far as understanding the guts of them or how they work or everything else that goes with it, you know, I flip a switch. That's about the extent of my knowledge. Okay. But I'm glad to see this trend, and I really hope that it holds. Mike Rowe, R-O-W-E, of Dirty Jobs fame, has been saying for years, we do not have enough electricians, enough welders, enough carpenters, enough HVAC people in this country. And I think a large part of it is that a certain generation of people, particularly Gen Z, are realizing we don't need to go hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt to get a job that pays us $35,000 a year. What we need is a job where we can make lots of money and not have to pay out a whole lot of money for the education to do it. Okay? I really hope that this trend that they're seeing in Minnesota, and we're also seeing it around the country, I hope this sticks around for a while. Because wouldn't it be nice to see a whole generation of people be materially successful without having to sink themselves into debt doing it? They can take those skills anywhere they want in the country and just do or be and have the freedom to do or be anything they want. That, to me, is fantastic. That's fantastic. Anyway, thought you guys might find that interesting. Let's bring this train into the station. Folks, it has been a wonderful live stream this morning. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for being here. Before you leave, if you haven't done it yet, do me some favors. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment in chat, regardless of which venue you're watching me on right now, be it YouTube or Rumble. And we will be back next week with the Wednesday Night Newsroom. In the meanwhile, you guys have yourselves a great rest of the weekend. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys very much, and we'll see